thank warmly all the colleagues on the cancer support because we know how it is important to be supported when you are facing such a situation. I know how afraid there are people to deal with it, even with the prevention. I had a few colleagues calling me saying, I'm so grateful that you organized this event, but still I don't have the courage to come. I just want to be out of any kind of concern on this respect. And then I think that is this fear that we have to deal with when it comes to the prevention. And that's why we're working together and sharing together experiences and also making this institution more open to help colleagues. Sometimes it's the case, sometimes not. It's just random. It depends also of the colleague who are in charge of your file. There are colleagues who are so happy about how PMO is working. Some others are less happy about it. It depends on many things. Our role is to support you fully and also to be a sort of interface with the administration for whatever need you have. Also providing finance support because we are so great on selling our Parmesan that we will come up with a very good results on this respect. I'm just dealing with the extra 1,000 kilos on top of the 5,000 already ordered. And the results is also the proof how staff is supporting your action. I'm not saying that staff were less sensitive to Ukrainian concerns, but if I make just a comparison with the participation with this sale and all this one, it's clear that there is a big improvement, and this is the proof that staff want to support you as we want. So it is the first webinar, and we are open to organize whatever webinar initiative you could consider to be helpful for supporting your action. And thank you again for what you do.
As I said earlier, but I would like to repeat also for the colleagues, I'm Athanasios Katsogiannis. I am a member of Renouveau and Démocratie, but I'm also the president of the Central Staff Committee, which is practically representing all colleagues in the Commission. With that role, I often have to meet and discuss with all categories of people, of colleagues, and I have to say that when we started exchanging with the Cancer Support Group, it was the toughest moment. It is the toughest moment because we listen to stories that are real a punch in the stomach, because we realize that all the good words that the administration says often are only empty words. Quite often, as Cristiano said, colleagues would like to help, would like to do things, but either they just don't want to deal with this, or they have to go through bureaucratic labyrinths, and then the end result is nothing. We want to raise awareness. We want people to know that this is a situation that today some colleagues are facing, but personally, I'm a scientist. Science is based on facts. Facts are based on research, and the research and the facts say that in the future, the society will be composed of people who 1/3 of whom will have suffered or met a type of cancer at some point in his life. And therefore, when we talk about cancer, it's not talking about something that is very far from us. It is something that directly or indirectly we will face in our families or in our working environment. The earlier we start dealing with this in one way or the other, the better will be for prevention reasons, for psychological reasons, for preparedness reasons. And therefore, as trade union, together with Cancer Support Group, we have established this collaboration in order to make people talk about that, know about that, and we are also a community of expats. We have to deal with problems in a country where we don't know how it works. So even exchanging, talking with someone about a problem that you face may give you the solution. I will not say more because there are people who have more important things to say. I give the floor to Maria, who is representing here today the Cancer Support Group. Maria, have the floor to let us know what the association does, and then we will kick off with the presentations. Thank you very much.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much, Athanasios. Yes, indeed. I'm the vice president. I'm representing today Cancer Support Group. And first of all, I would like to thank very much Athanasios and Renouveau and Démocratie. When we were discussing, they launched this idea of making a joint webinar on breast cancer for the month of October. We immediately said, yes, this is also an opportunity for us to reach a larger audience. So we are very glad about this opportunity. The Commission Cancer Support Group, we are a group of 17 colleagues. We are all volunteers. Most of us are cancer survivors, previous patients, from different DGs and from different institutions. And we devote our free time to help our colleagues in need. In particular, when they are struck by a diagnosis and they need a listening ear, there are also many alone colleagues in Brussels that have no one to talk to. We offer our time for a call, exchange of emails, to help them, guide them in the medical process, finding a hospital, finding a doctor, sometimes, unfortunately, palliative care. But also we try to help them in this sea of administrative procedures that being sick means, because it means you have to submit a lot of information and reports for recognitions of your illness, or for a direct billing with your hospital, not to be overcome with the financial costs. Of course, if unfortunately you need to go on invalidity, we are there to listen to them and try to guide them through the all different procedures. We are founded via an annual allowance by DGHR, and sometimes we are also funded via private or donations. So I take the opportunity here to personally thank Renouveau and Démocratie and Athanasios and Cristiano on behalf of Cancer Support Group, because this year they make an annual sale of parmesan cheese, solidarity sale, and this year they have decided to donate the amount that will be gathered through this sale to Cancer Support Group, and also to research on cancer. So we are really grateful. This amount will allow us to provide our colleagues with, for example, yoga sessions, meditation sessions, walks in the wood, meetings with a psychologist, open heart discussions on people who are suffering and need to meet other people in the same situation. So again, once more, Athanasios, many thanks, and Renouveau and Démocratie. And if you need any further information and how to get to know how to contact Cancer Support Group, we are almost finalizing the revamping of our website. We have a new website that has been distributed in the very latest invitation sent today, this morning at 10 by Renouveau and Démocratie. You will see the link to our website. There is information on the what we are offering, on the services we can offer, links to associations, hospitals in Brussels. We are only at the beginning, so it needs to be still fine-tuned. So please, apologies if something is not fully correct. And our intention is also to feed it further with conferences, events. So just I ask you a little bit of patience. In any case, I already say here that our internal number for institutions is 80741. You can find this number as well as on functional mailbox in the contacts in the website. In any case, our functional mailbox is cancer-support at ec.europa.eu. But you, as I said, you all have this information already in the latest invitation. So now I would like to give the floor. Athanasios, are going to introduce our speakers. Just to say that, okay, via our president, we have been in contact with Petra. And so thank you for accepting our invitation. And I give the floor back to Athanasios. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Maria. We give the floor directly to Petra Thaler, who is representing Outdoor Against Cancer. So, Petra, you have the floor, and go ahead.
So, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I met one of your colleagues, Petra Lindert, in Brussels during the Young Cancer Survivors Conference last year in 2023. And we got in contact and we stayed in contact. And some weeks ago, she was asking me whether we can take over this part of presenting cancer prevention and cancer care for breast cancer patients / survivors. First of all, I want to say that most of the time we are talking about cancer survivors because this has a huge impact on the psyche of the already or just diagnosed cancer patients, because if we call them survivors, they have a much better perspective to their future life. In the beginning, first slide, please, Tom. I am a cancer survivor. I'm a breast cancer survivor as well. I got cancer, the diagnosis in 2015 after I was climbing the Carstens Pyramid, one of the highest mountains on the world. And when I got back from this expedition, they diagnosed 5 malignant tumors in my right breast. So I was physically super fit. And during that time, I was ski mountaineering and I did a lot of crazy things, what usually cancer patients / survivors don't do, but I did it. And during one of those excursions to the mountains, a friend of mine, he was asking me, hey, Petra, if you can do that, other people can do that as well. So I did a deep research, and after a while, I found it, 2 weeks later, I think, I found it Outdoor Against Cancer. Because scientific shows us that physical activity, especially in a healthy environment outdoors, helps a lot to support cancer patients, survivors through their therapy. So as my background is in psychology, economy, and communication science, I decided to shout out loud. The only thing is we know a lot of things, and all of us are in the bubble above the peak of the iceberg. But most of the people who are affected by cancer, they don't know what they can do and how they can help themselves in terms of cancer health literacy. So I founded Outdoor Against Cancer. Shortly after that, I had the first training group in Munich with cancer patients, and most of them were women with breast cancer. And some weeks later, I got an invitation from the European Commission, shout out loud. They invited me to a workshop which was called The Fight Against Cancer is a Team Sport, the Role of Education and Sports. So we spreaded the word. Next slide, please, Tom. And we spreaded the word. And after a while, we got the first funding from the European Commission. It was in the framework of an Erasmus Plus sport program. And we developed a training for medical doctors, coaches, sports scientists, which we further developed in terms of the sustainability, what the European Commission is expecting from their partners. And now this training is available in 8 languages and digitalized, and we did that all on our own money. So after that, the EU for Health call came out, and we applied for 2 other projects. The one was Outdoor Against Cancer Connects Us. It's part of Europe's Beating Cancer Plan. It was in the framework for a network for young cancer survivors. There we also mentioned the 4 OEC pillars, which are physical activity and outdoor sports, balanced nutrition, sustainability in nature, and physical and mental well-being. So We shared knowledge, everything went hand in hand, and we wrote another proposal, which is also based on the 4 pillars. It's a school project. It's also in the framework of the Europe Speeding Cancer Plan. It's called Rock Your Health, a holistic approach to health for primary and secondary schools. The 4 key pillars are translated in school projects, in the happiness project, the activity project, the food project, and the sustainability project. Meanwhile, we are also a coordinator of projects, and one of those we agreed to is active aging for people 65 plus in the European Union, and another project we financed by ourselves, it's Wellbeing Her. My dear colleagues will talk about that later on. So now I'm at the end of this official, what has OEC already done part. One of my colleagues is Rudolf Seseko. He is a sport physiologist, and he's the OEC exercise expert and advisor. He is also a young cancer survivor, and Rudolf and myself, we have the same thinking or similar thinking. I'm the communication person and he's the scientist. Beside Rudolf, I have my other wonderful colleague. It's Dr. Tom Degenhardt. Tom is a medical doctor. He's an oncologist. He led the breast cancer center at the University Hospital in Munich, and he is our medical director. First of all, I think we should talk about everything. And when we were talking before the webinar started, we were talking about the load which is on our shoulders when we got the diagnosis of cancer. This is right, but Rudolf and myself, we are 2 minds and we have one mission. We want to take off the load of the shoulders of all people who are affected by cancer. And therefore, I'm kindly asking you, Tom, to show the next slide with a video we have done in Latvia in June this year. Thank you very much.
Are we going to be the ones who looked away when we had the chance to transform cancer care?
Despite the recognition in ESMO guidelines, lifestyle changes like physical activity are rarely embedded in standard cancer treatment protocols. This gap undermines potential enhancements in patient health and treatment effectiveness. Studies have consistently shown that incorporating physical activity into the cancer care not only improves treatment outcomes, but significantly boosts quality of life. We no longer have to guess. We know that exercise is medicine.
Join us on this journey to redefine cancer treatment. Together we can ensure that no opportunity for enhancing patient care is overlooked. Let's make physical activity a standard part of cancer therapy.
This is our moment to lead, to learn, and to lend our voices for change. Don't shy away from transformation. Be part of a movement that changes the world for the better.
I don't want to say that communication is everything, but communication about positive vision to your future is very, very important. So I was already talking about the 4 OEC pillars. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Yeah, okay. Physical activity, balanced nutrition, sustainability, and nature, and physical and mental well-being. In my history, I was a sportswoman my whole life long, and I tried always to optimize my physical strength, and I've always wanted to be a strong woman. So I'm a bit crazy, but in a way, it brought me to the point that I was talking with all the scientists around me, and we agreed that we will have these 4 OEC key pillars for a healthy lifestyle. I already mentioned before the video, we are using them in several projects for the school, for the cancer survivors. And yeah, and now I want to give the floor to my beloved colleague, Tom. He is a medical doctor, and he knows a lot more about cancer and prevention than I know. The floor is yours, Tom. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Petra, for these nice words. I'm really happy for being here. Nice seeing all of you in this webinar. And yeah, there's these 4 really important pillars of lifestyle and holistic health approach. And today I would like to focus a little bit more on the question of, is sport a drug? And do we need more? Do we need more sports? And to be clear, when we're talking about sports, we should differentiate between physical activity, that is like any movement, any increased energy expenditure by moving our body. We have exercise, which is a more planned and structured and voluntary, with health and fun being in the center and the focus. And when we talk about sports, it's more about rules, regulations, competitions. So just for this talk today, I will not be that strict. I will talk about sport and physical activity, and what I'm concentrating on is more the left-hand part of this slide. And so let's talk about sport, as it's a nice and short word, but we're talking more about physical activity and exercise. And the question was, why do we need more sport? And I'm a scientist as well, so I like data, I like graphs, I like studies, but our problem is not that the data is missing. Our problem is not that there are like bad explanations. Our problem is it's not understandable for everyone. And I would like to make it very easy today. And we see here a group of people on the left-hand side with no chemotherapy, and on the right-hand side, we see people with chemotherapy. And the higher the boxes are, the higher the level of cardiovascular fitness is. And if we draw a line here at 100, it means that's a healthy standard mixed population, and that's their health level. And now if we have a look at the far right boxes there, post-neoadjuvant chemotherapy or post-adjuvant chemotherapy, we see a significant decrease in cardiovascular fitness. I mean, that's easy. You don't have to be a scientist to understand that it's just far below. And what is even more impressive or scary is that if we talk about this level, like 50% of the proportion, and that's a level where patients are listed for a heart transplant. So we see that these boxes with patients after chemotherapy, if neoadjuvant or adjuvant, they're really close to a level of cardiovascular fitness where patients are listed for a heart transplant. And the thing I don't understand at all is what we see here. All of these patients were evaluated by their treating physicians with an ECOG 0 status, meaning normal fitness. So there's something we have to do. So what can we do? And the question is, why do we need more sport? And if we see that we have a cardiovascular decrease after chemotherapy, what doesn't mean we need more sport. The answer lies more in these graphs now, where we see that if we have more physical activity, like this line I highlighted here in red, then patients have a higher probability of survival. So people will have a better overall survival after chemotherapy and after the diagnosis of breast cancer in this case. So people will live longer. And this graph shows it's only 9 metabolic equivalents per week, meaning 3 hours of walking, meaning 1.5 hours of running, meaning around 2 hours of riding a bike per week. And even this amount of physical activity already shows a significant benefit. And here, these colorful graphs on the left-hand side show that if we do more, we benefit more. But the threshold where physical activity helps with overall and recurrence-free survival benefit is really low. It's only 1.5 hours per week. These metabolic equivalents is just something to compare physical activity and exercises to each other. A metabolic equivalent of 1 means lying down, doing nothing. So we have a list of activities here, just showing that even going for a walk is already, at a slow pace of 4 kilometers per hour, is already a 3-fold equivalent of just lying down. So if we go for a walk 3 times a week for 1 hour, we already reach this magic number of 9 metabolic equivalent hours per week, and we have this evidence and significant evidence-based benefit. If we're talking about sports as a drug, and if we just found out that we need sport and we need more sport or physical activity, the next question is it safe? And this analysis performed in 2016, mostly breast cancer patients, they divided into subgroups, like after age, so younger and older patients, other risk factors like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular risk factors, radiation, anti-hormonal therapy, menopausal status, BMI, and all these groups were looked at to see if sport is safe or not. And what they found out is that almost every patient benefited from a higher physical activity level. There's just one exception, and this is patients with a BMI of more than 35, saying a weight reduction should come first when we have very obese patients, and afterwards physical activity is a benefit also for these patients. So why don't we do it? And one reason is that before, like 20 years ago, there was a standard recommendation for breast cancer patients after the diagnosis, during and after chemotherapy, to rest and recover. And now with all these data that came up over the years, we now have another recommendation. And one of the first associations were the American Society of Sports Medicine, saying people with and beyond cancer should be as active as possible for them. So very individualized activity and exercise recommendations for patients after the diagnosis, before, during, and after the chemotherapy or hormonal therapy, and even surgery. And we don't want to go into detail on this slide, but we have recommendations that are clear, that are evidence-based, and we don't need any more data and any more studies to find out if sport is successful. We just need a change in how can we make people do it. So if we talk about sport, that we need it and it's safe, and we talk about sport as a drug, we have to talk about the dose. So how often should we take the drug? How intense, so at what dosage? What length, how often during a day? And what kind of drug? So if we talk about sport, we could just follow these FIT criteria, what frequency, what intensity of the sport, what time period, and what type of training. And if we stick to the recommendations, like WHO recommendation or ACSM recommendations, we see that the effect of a higher physical activity level on adverse events like fatigue, like depression, like sleeping disorders, like pain, like nausea, like lymphedema, like bone density, secondary diseases like cardiovascular problems, and so on. And what is impressive is the risk reduction, the significant risk reduction of cancer-specific survival, disease-free survival, and as well overall survival. And I mean, I highlighted it, but it's the most important part from my side is the quality of life level raises if we are more active. So I'm a doctor, I'm prescribing drugs all day long, and I would like to prescribe this drug for all 5 times per week, a moderate intensity endurance training around 30 minutes, like Nordic walking. We have a 2-week strength training session, like weightlifting or body weight training, and daily coordination, mobility, and balance training. And this drug would fit for all, and all of the people would have a benefit. So just to have it a little nicer in pictures, the recommendations, the least recommendations of physical activities, 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity training per week, or 150 minutes of a vigorous intensity training. It should be a combination of aerobic, strength, and functional training with balance and mobility. It should be at least 3 days a week, better would be 5. And the intensity should be moderate or greater, and more than 2 days a week should be filled with strength training. So let's do this together. And Petra already mentioned our trainer certificate, where we have a 6-week training for Outer Against Cancer trainers that feel more comfortable in guiding patients, being more active, guiding groups, leading patients to their more active daily life. And if we ask the question, what timing is best, then it's really clear that the more physical active my life is, the better for my health. So being active throughout the whole life, meaning before diagnosis, during and after treatment, is most effective. But what is really interesting is that the exercise that is performed after the diagnosis is even more effective than having been very active before the diagnosis. So it's never too late to start. It's always worth it, and the benefit is there. And now I would like to introduce my good friend, Rudolf. Petra did a really nice introduction, and I would like to introduce him by showing a video.
My name is Rudolf Sasheko. I'm exercise physiologist and the leading expert at the Exercise Oncology Clinic based in Riga, Latvia. Also, I'm the lecturer at the Riga Student University and advisor for the Outdoor Against Cancer organization. I have an opinion both from the scientific point of view and from my personal point of view, experiencing it all back in 2010 when I was diagnosed with a cancer. Today, as an exercise physiologist, I look in a body in a more systemic way. Cardiovascular system, neuromuscular system, bones, how strong they are, and ultimately molecular mechanisms. Today, based on the clinical research results that we have and the clinical practice working with the patients daily, we have a very comprehensive and precise exercise strategies that we can implement and support patients in their individual journey. Therefore, don't be afraid. Take action in your own hands and implement exercise today. Yeah, thank you for a great presentation and the video. I will share my screen now. So let's continue. And in my part, I would like to show you actually how much available is for us, for the patients, for the cancer survivors, for the specialists, and also for the policy makers, that there are many things that are available that can help through the cancer journey and after. And for me, as a cancer survivor and an exercise specialist and a scientist, it's a green light. It's very important to hear that exercise is the part of the cancer management, and that leading organizations, including in Europe and around the world, accept and acknowledge exercise as a fundamental part of the cancer continuum. So that is a green light, and we should be open for that, and we should use these opportunities. So as the Dr. Tom mentioned already, that key factor that we focus in OIC is exercise. And there are many things that we can do during the cancer phase and after. And right now, in the scientific field and in a practical field, this exercise question moves more to individual aspect. So every person is unique, sharing their unique story and unique experience. And therefore, the general exercise recommendations are very welcome, and they can help us to understand the general picture, because talking about the physical activity and the exercise and the sport might be a little bit confusing because it's so general subject. So then the question may arise, what should we do on day-to-day basis? How should we schedule, for example, our weekly exercise sessions? And what we consider in our practical sessions, also in scientific field, we should talk about intensity, because intensity matters. And in my part of the presentation and in OIC, we also focus a lot on exercise, which is very specific and structured part of physical activity. So we like exercise a lot. Intensity matters. So, and don't be afraid of word higher intensity. I will explain a little bit later what do we mean by that. Also the frequency, so the volume, how much should we do the exercise? Duration, should be 5 minutes, or is the 5 minutes enough? And the answer is yes. Even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, that can give a significant positive effects during the time. And within the context of the patient's life. So the exercise strategy should be very optimal and adaptable, so that person can integrate best scientific results from the exercise oncology, for example, within the context of everyday basis and during cancer continuum. So it's patient and cancer survivor centered approach. So these things are important, and we pay a lot of attention to them. So let's dissect this section a little bit more. So what do we really want to achieve when we talk about physical activities and exercise in a cancer continuum? So we want to increase or keep at certain level physical capacities. And there are essential components that physical capacities consist of. So cardiorespiratory endurance, muscle strength, muscle endurance, body composition, and flexibility or range of motion. And it has been established many, many years ago from exercise physiologists that two cardinal elements are cardiorespiratory endurance and muscle strength. So there you go. It gives us quite clear direction where we want to go and how do we want to structurize our exercise strategies, for example, for the breast cancer patients. And these are basic essential components. And further, we would like to introduce you with a more precise and more systemic way how to organize these two main essential components. From the physiological perspective, we really need to think when we do exercise or we do any physical activity, does it really benefit or the physical activity really give us significant boost, for example, to increase our physical capacities? And most likely, yes, but not all physical activities are effective. For example, walking 30 minutes every day and collecting those 10,000 steps with very light intensity, that's very welcome. But let's be honest, it's not going to significantly increase our aerobic endurance. So let's go a little bit deeper in this aerobic whole body exercise approach. And the cardiorespiratory endurance really consists of three major principles. When we know these principles, then in the next slide, I will show you the results that we have created from our practical experience and from the clinical studies that can significantly increase cardiorespiratory endurance. And these three main components are, surprise, surprise, it's maximal oxygen uptake. So how much oxygen body can really use during physical activity. And it's measured in a number. And we want to keep this number increasing steadily, even during the chemotherapy. And it is possible. It's lactate threshold. That is the highest intensity of work at which the blood lactate concentration gradually starts to increase during continued work. And last but not least, it's very important, it's work economy. That's the ratio between the work output and the oxygen cost. So in other terms, during the cancer treatment or after the cancer treatment, even many years after the treatment, people still experience fatigue during everyday activities. That means their work economy has significantly decreased. Everyday work, households going to work now requires more energy. So, there are good news. With proper physical activity, with proper exercise strategies, we can significantly increase cardiorespiratory endurance. So one of the key factors that science shows us, the results, the well-established results, and we call this aerobic approach 4x4, and probably you have noticed we like number 4 a lot in our OAC. So these are the intervals that we use daily in a practical settings, working with the cancer survivors in an individual approach and a group-based outdoor exercise sessions. So, and we would like to encourage you, starting today, so that you could start this aerobic endurance approach. Aerobic endurance, it means the whole body needs to work, is the whole body exercise. Either it's walking, Nordic walking, jogging, or we can use a bike. And our exercise recommendation typically starts with a 6-minute warm-up time frame. And it's very useful, and very often going through the treatment or many years after the treatment, starting exercise takes a lot of energy and some motivation. So therefore, we recommend just start 6 minutes and see how do you feel. And the heart rate should be approximately 60% of the maximal heart rate. So you should feel that your body is getting warmer. And if you feel that your general feelings don't improve after these 6 minutes, say yourself thank you, and you can continue another day. But 80-90% of the cases, person can continue with further exercise activities. So after this warm-up period, from the physiological perspective, nothing interesting happens in our system. So therefore, we continue with 4-minute higher intensity time period. And believe me, 4 minutes are quite long time. So, but the key factor is following. The intensity should be, or the walking pace should be fast, so that at the end of the 4th minute, you feel short of breath. It is difficult to hold the conversation with other person, but you do not feel any discomfort. And I want to repeat it again, at the end of the 4th minute. So try to find the pace, the walking pace, or the speed on the treadmill, adjusting the incline so you feel slightly short out of breath at the end of the 4th minute. That's going to give a significant positive stress for the cardiovascular system. And once we reach the higher intensity of our heart rate gradually, and it would be recommended to reach at least 85% of the maximal heart rate at the end of the 4th minute. The heart pumps approximately 30 liters blood in 1 minute. This huge amount is the key factor that ensures that the cardiovascular system can regain or can maintain or even improve the fitness during the challenging times like the cancer treatment. So after the 4th minute, we have active recovery pace. Unfortunately, it goes for the 3 minutes. So it's enough time for a body to calm down. So the breathing frequency and the heart rate slightly decreases, and you feel that you have regained the energy and the strength. This is very important pace, and it's not also that you should stand. You should significantly decrease the pace, but keep moving ahead. That's going to help to remove the lactate that may build up at the end of the more higher intensity 4 minute period. And as you can see, we continue these intervals and we repeat 4 times. So this is very helpful. This is what works very good based on the evidence results. And at the beginning, 4 intervals may sound a lot. So therefore, try at least 2 intervals. How often? At least 2 times per week to non-consecutive days. And we have shown and measured in a laboratory setting that we can improve the maximal oxygen uptake approximately 1% after every training session. And total training session takes 34 minutes. So this is our invitation. We will send the material later to you. So and below the slide, you can see there is the formula. So how can you calculate your predicted maximal heart rate, and based on that, you can calculate what kind of recommended heart rate you should reach in every interval. So this is the methodology that has been shown to work very good. And if you go through the cancer treatment right now, take it easy, take 2 intervals and take them 3 times per week. So you gradually build up the strength, and you have more clear understanding and the feeling how do you feel during the exercise session and right after the exercise session. Typically, people feel full of energy, and everyone can manage it. And the age range we use in this exercise session are from 18 years old to 85 years old. So please try this type of training later today. The other part, one of the credential components are the maximal muscle strength. So how can we improve the maximal strength? And not all strength training or weightlifting exercises may result in increased muscle strength. So a long time ago, the fathers of exercise physiology have concluded that there are minimal thresholds that we need to reach in exercise training in order to call it strength training. And as you can see below the left column, it's fairly high. It's 60-70% of one repetition maximum, and one repetition a maximum, that's amount of kilograms you can lift in one repetition in standardized movement. And typically right now in exercise oncology setting, still conventional training strategy is the one that is used the most, and also in many clinical trials, which is very good. We are happy about it, and we also use it a lot. It consists of a few things. That typically it's applied low to moderate intensity. You see 25-75% of one repetition maximum. And here it starts to get interesting. And very often in a cancer setting, many exercise programs, or many people go to exercise sessions to yoga and breathing techniques, that's very good for the mind, for the body, and the person should do those things, but they don't reach enough intensity so that we could see any improvements in a maximal strength. And typically conventional strength training is done in 1 to 3 sets and applying a fairly high repetition range, approximately 10. And we need to do at least 4 weeks, 3 times per week if we want to see any results. And it's done in a slow manner. The movements are slow. And typically in a cancer setting, it's done after the treatment. But what we do in a practical way, from the scientific way, and we are encouraged from the maximal strength training perspective, with aim to improve the neural adaptations, the neural drive. So in order to do that, we try to test one repetition maximum using standardized movement. And we use higher intensity, approximately 90% of one repetition maximum. We do the same or similar 3 to 4 sets, but you see the repetitions are lower. We do 4 repetitions. And now we have experience doing that kind of training for 12 weeks to 6 years, twice a week. And the key factor is maximal mobilization of the force in a concentric action. For example, when we lift the weight up, we want to really focus on speed. That's going to significantly increase the neural drive. And we have measured in a long term that maximal strength increases approximately 1% after every training session. So, and the muscle strength is one of the fundamental components of physical capacities. And further, I would like to talk more about the study that we did a couple of years ago in oncology clinic here in Latvia. We included 57 breast cancer patients, and we included them in a study 2 weeks after the breast surgery. And once they're going to continue the chemotherapy, they started the maximal strength training 2 times per week for 12 weeks. And the training session lasted for 20 minutes. And we used, as you can see in the picture, leg press machine. And we did only this exercise. And the maximal strength during the chemotherapy improved by 20% for the training group. And unfortunately, which is not a big surprise, it significantly decreased for the control group. And the difference between the groups at the post-test were huge. And it is amazing, astonishing to see that patients can get significantly stronger during the chemotherapy. And although the maximal strength training is not primarily targeted to increase the muscle mass, which is also very important in a cancer continuum, because inactivity and the chemotherapy, radiation therapy, hormone therapy significantly decrease the muscle mass. But a muscle mass is very, very important. We were able to maintain the muscle mass, but the muscle mass significantly decreased for the control group. How it relates to everyday activities, We tested functional performance, and as expected, the training group significantly improved walking performance. We applied 6 minutes walking test, opposite results for the control group. And we did the sit to stand test, 30 seconds. We asked patients to sit and down as many times as they can, and the numbers significantly improved for the strength training group. And the repetitions decreased for the control group. And also the same motion we saw in a stair climbing test. So the actual improvement in the strength leads to better functioning during everyday activities. Also, we did health-related quality of life measurements, and during the chemotherapy, the global health status or the evaluation of the general well-being significantly improved. The cancer-related fatigue diminished by 24% for the control group, which is very good, but it increased for the control group. We noticed that the training group ladies that did exercise training, they were more socially active. They participated in social gatherings. They continued to work, and they felt more genuinely better in their bodies during the therapy, which might be really challenging, especially during the chemotherapy and after the surgery. Social functioning improved, emotional functioning significantly improved, and unfortunately, the results decreased for the control group. Importantly, that we are following these ladies till today. And right now, in October and November, many of them will reach 7-year survival period. And we have been testing them once every year. And as you can see, the maximal strength keeps high, like it ended at the end of the clinical trial. And they are training only once a week, every week. So the consistency is key. And that shows us that the exercise is a significant part of their health journey, of their community, of the support of other people. And during these years, we have noticed that these ladies in an exercise group welcome the new cancer patients that will be cancer survivors, and they encourage each other. And through the exercise and through this emotional support, we can see that applying effective exercise strategies, we can maintain improved physical activities even many years once the person has finished the treatment. So what are the practical implications? The people actually enjoy exercise once they understand what to do, taking consideration their cancer story. And even though these maximal strength training strategies may sound like heavy lifting, but it's not so. And we find and we see in everyday results that adherence rate is very high. Approximately people visit every scheduled training sessions. And in this particular study that we did, we applied only one exercise machine, dynamic leg press, and they performed that exercise. It's low cost, time efficient, less than 1 hour of training per week. And people can train in small groups, 3 to 5 people per exercise machine. And also during our interaction, it's educational work. It's a new skill development. They understand these nuances about exercise that keeps them motivated. And of course, they feel improvements of the physical capacities. And this can be applied to different cancer locations for the lung cancer patients, prostate cancer patients, and so on. And the age range is very wide. So what are the perspectives and another important message why exercise and the physical activity is so important? It actually interacts a lot, this interplay between muscles and cells and the cancer cells. There's something happening in our system. And we have started to explore these molecular mechanisms also, what they are behind effective exercise. And the movement changes microenvironment in a tumor. So there are extracellular vesicles. They are like a small parts that come out of the cells during slightly intense exercise. And these extracellular vesicles, or EVs, how do we call them? They are like machines. They transport nutrition, information, DNA fragments to the cancer cells. And we have seen in studies also done in breast cancer patients, the tumor size in a combination with prescribed treatment significantly reduces compared with the control group. This is the future where the exercise in oncology setting is going, and I'm very privileged to be part of OIC that really supports this movement. Here's the pictures of our outdoor exercise sessions. So it is good that we have a possibility to test things in a laboratory setting, but it's even more important to apply these knowledge to society. And we do these exercise sessions every weekend, and we welcome many people, many cancer survivors, many relatives, friends, and also children. And also here in Europe, we have done our physical activity recommendations. They are built in a similar way like all physical activity recommendations, but we have adapted some important aspects. So when the patient or the cancer survivor or even the healthcare professional receive these recommendations, they have a more clear direction what to do and what not to do. Physical activities, for example, and these also are available. So like a very important part is the warm-up phase, quite detailed information about aerobic exercises and the strength training, of course, and many important aspects also. So thank you very much for attention, and let's continue our presentation. Yes, please, Tom.
I am Petra Thaler. I'm the founder of Outdoor Against Cancer, a breast cancer survivor and a firm believer in the power of healthy habits for physical and mental well-being. We at OAC promote a holistic approach to health based on our 4 key pillars: physical activity and outdoor sports, balanced nutrition, sustainability and nature, and physical and mental well-being. We believe in the power of rebellion for independence, personal responsibility, education, and empowerment. The goal of our interdisciplinary international team is to improve health literacy and well-being for everyone. We are committed to provide health education for all age groups, ensuring that our programs are free, accessible, and understandable for all of them. Driven by my passion for outdoor activities, I strive to inspire individuals to take charge of their own health, to create a healthier society for all. Rebel to be well is more than my personal slogan. It's a call to action.
so I guess it's my turn now. This morning I was surfing. I get up at 6 and I took the first waves, and then I had breakfast, and now I'm here in the meeting. But I'm also, not only that you are thinking that I'm just surfing and climbing and skiing, I also work a lot. But I really enjoy whatever I am doing. During the Outdoor Against Cancer Connects Us project, which is part of Europe's Beating Cancer Plan, I had the idea whether it would be a good opportunity to create a healthy cookbook in a way of a European journey, culinary journey, and the consortium agreed, and we created this really fantastic cookbook. And it is a combination, next slide please, Tom. It's a combination of everything regarding the 4 OEC or WACUS pillars we created. We have some parts in the cookbook where you can read why everything we decided to work on is that important, and how this cookbook were created during that time. We did some short videos. I never thought about them since 2 weeks ago when Tom told me I would love to see a making of this cookbook. So I went to my mobile phone and we did some short videos. I don't like it too much to blame myself because, yeah, I don't like that. But he was asking me, Tom was asking me, didn't you dance, or do you have a dancing video? And yes, I have a dancing video. And so my team, next slide, Tom, please, just did 1 minute about the production of the cookbook. So perhaps you like it. Enjoy.
No aguanto más, por eso vengo a decirte lo que siento. Estoy sufriendo la soledad. Y aunque tu padre no aprobó esta relación, yo sigo insistiendo a pedir perdón. Lo único que importa es en tu corazón. Te estaba buscando por la calle gritando, esto me está matando. Oh no. Te estaba buscando por las calles gritando, como un loco tomando.
This was made for private use, not for the European Commission. So the quality is not that good, but I think one of the most important things in your life is you should do whatever you like to do, what you love to do, what you're passionate about, and then do it. This cookbook is a nice result. Next slide, please, Tom. About really a good combination of everything. So there are short recommendations. What can you do if you decide for yourself, oh, I don't have time for exercise? Every one of us has time for exercise. Go the steps 10 times up. You can do every morning, get up half an hour earlier. So there are tiny recommendations how you can be physically active. Not in that way, like Rudolf said, with this specialized and customized exercise program, but you can already do a lot yourself to be physically active and to look for your own health, to rebel for your own health, which is very important. At the moment, we are talking a lot about health literacy, and this is part of your own health literacy. Next slide, please, Tom. There are also recommendations, what you can buy, what kind of food, what you should do when you are writing a shopping list. So I think it's a good combination of everything, and we will provide you the cookbook for a free download so you can have a look at it, and perhaps you get some tips for your future healthy life. There's also a very nice article about physical activity. Don't stop your body, move it, which is very important. And when it comes to physical activity and balanced nutrition and mental well-being, it's now Tom who will introduce our project for early breast cancer survivors. We kicked off yesterday with the European Cancer Patients Europe, which are the partners of our privately financed project. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, so to conclude, we now realize that, Anthony just started with, there is a lot of data. There's so much knowledge. There's so many informations out there, but we have to get them to our cancer survivors. We have to motivate them and to show them what is possible, what is available, and what can they do on their own. So empower them to do it on their own. And what we realized throughout the different EU projects, it's always a very high motivation at the beginning to establish stuff, to find new ways of presenting information. And if we work with academic partners, also to create more data. And sustainability is something that is a big problem. So we realized we wanted to focus very well on this sustainability part, and wanted to have a single source that is for all our cancer survivors. And we start with breast cancer, as it's a very common disease, and we have the experience and personal history and a lot of network around this situation. So now we want a project that combines all of the 4 pillars, and we want to first start with breast cancer as our main focus group, as a very vulnerable group. And we want to have training material. We want personal and or virtual meetings and programs, and of course a direct support and a network for our cancer survivors, their caregivers and their families and friends. And of course, our idea is we wanted to make it available for as many survivors and families as possible. We want our certified OAC trainer as a basis that is certified by the German Doctor Association. So we have CME points, and it's evidence-based and it's approved. And we want to spread this and extend it to focus more on the 3 other pillars that are not that in the center, not yet. Of course, once we are able to have a established and working project and program, it's transferable to other disease areas, and we have a network and very great partners with Rudolph, with CPE and Outer Against Cancer. And with this network, we really looking forward to promote this project. And the idea, if to put it into one sentence, is we have a very modern therapy plan. We have chemotherapy, we have antibodies, we have targeted therapy, we have immunotherapy, and we have a therapy plan for every patient that is on a high level, evidence-based, that is discussed among specialists, and that's individualized for this specific patient, telling them what, when, and why. But we're missing something at the same quality and evidence level for healthy lifestyle supports. For our 4 pillars, we want a equivalent level of evidence, quality, and readability for our patients, so they have 2 therapy plans, 1 conservative medical oncologist plan, and additionally, as a complement, a health and holistic lifestyle approach at a single source where they have a therapy plan that they can follow on their own to empower them to take action. So if you're interested, here are the QR codes for downloading all the material, the presentation, and of course the movies.
Thank you very much, Tom, Petra, and Rudolf. I found this presentation more than anything else. If I could use one word, is optimism, because normally when we talk about cancer, we're not really very optimistic, and statistics, data, science, etc., is normally not in our side. But after this presentation, I would say that there is much more optimism. I would like to open the floor for questions to colleagues if they're interested in. I see Sarah Christina has written that her oncologist advised against phytoestrogens contained in soy flax seeds, chia seeds, etc., while she sees that they are recommended in the book. My question would also be, when we are doing sports, we know that we have higher levels of endorphins. And these endorphins are also natural painkillers, if I'm not wrong. So I would like to ask you if in science there are any findings that there is any correlation between production of endorphins and positive effects against cancer.
Maybe I could answer, or
yes,
Rudolf?
please. Then, yeah, and then
you can start, and then I can add if it's going to be necessary.
Okay, so talking about pain is very complex. To make it as simple as possible without presentation and something to write on, it's different impacts on pain. Of course, there is the pain that should keep us from harming ourselves. And easiest way, putting the hand on anything hot and pulling it away right away. That's a reflex. It's on the spine level, so it's nothing to do with our brain. Then we have the information to our brain, where is the pain? And in our head, in our brain, there happen so many different kinds, like, where is it? Is it something I already realized before? Is it something that scares me? And of course, we have the central evaluation about emotionally. How is my emotional status at the moment? And what do I connect with this kind of pain? Does it change my emotional level? And this also all leads to a downward reduction in pain level, or even a higher pain experience. And in all these different parts, like on the reflex side, we could take local anesthesia. If you're talking about drugs, local anesthesia. On the information side, we can take endorphins. If we talk about emotional evaluation of the pain, of course, endorphins play a great role. I mean, if you look at a football player hurting in the last 5 minutes, he can run as fast as before, but once the game is over, the pain comes and shoots in. It's just because of emotion and endorphins and motivation and a good feeling. So yes, it's massively important, and I think there is no question at all that a higher level of endorphins and a physical and mental well-being helps in pain treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Not only in pain treatment, endorphins and those hormones are responsible for that you are happy and that you feel good, so your mental health increases. And there are studies out there that confirm if you are mentally strong, so you feel happy, your immune system is working properly. And here I want to give the word to Rudolf, because he has perhaps the right answer, scientifically based.
Yeah, you both said true. From that endorphin perspective, the exercise can ensure good levels of endorphin. Although from the endorphin interaction with a cancer cell, there are not evidence yet that could support like direct interaction between endorphin and cancer cells. But endorphin as a effect of the exercise that can reduce the stress, you feel better, improves your quality of sleep, and therefore through that those indirect effects can significantly improve the efficacy of the treatment. So exercise and endorphins goes very good together.
Thank you very much. I invite Alice to have the floor, who has raised her hand. In the meantime, there are some questions by Petra and other colleagues.
Yes, thank you,
Alice.
Athanasios, and thanks to all of you. I'm also a cancer patient survivor. It will be 5 years in April next year. And I have two questions. The first one is, yes, I was exercising after chemotherapy, but not all the chemotherapy has same effect. And in particularly, 3 were quite heavy. So I'm talking about epirubicin notably. So it was not easy. The other ones I could have jogging the day later. And the second question is a little bit an idea, Athanasios. This is for you and for it's more about, well, you said exercise. We have data about how good is exercise, how good is the physical exercise for a cancer patient. And you also mentioned well, lack of time, that it's an excuse, but in some cases, in my case, I'm a single mother, it's really 40 hours a week, and lack of time is a reality. So what I think it could be really revolutionary, based on your data, why don't we start thinking exercising as working hours as some professions do? For example, I have some friends working in some military forces, and exercise is part of their working hours. So what could be really revolutionary, starting with cancer patient, let's say I deduct 3 hours from your weekly 40 hours and you exercise for 3 hours. This could be really, I don't know, I think it would be really great changing and a great step towards, the future, and showing that this has less social cost for community and for the employer too. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. That's really a very good proposal. It could be considered as working time. If they don't accept that, it could be considered that within your 8 working hours, you should have some time to half an hour to exercise, and then maybe you can do the rest of your work on a more flexible way. These are suggestions that I have seen important people were among us today, so they will know what was discussed today, so that's very good. I don't know if Tom, Petra, and Rudolf, you would like to say something on Alice's suggestion, also because you have exercise from other institutions. And you know, the European Commission is very heavy, very difficult to move. But if there are very good examples from other similar institutions, why not?
I can answer just for Outdoor Against Cancer. We have some sports scientists in our team, and all our employees, we are not that much like at the European Commission, of course, but they have some hours a month where they can go to the sports scientist and get a personalized training plan. They can take time off, because we also experience that if people are not working that much, so if they have during the day a break for physical activity, the result in work are better. So, and in Germany, for example, we are at the moment, there is a test phase where the companies test for 4-day week, for example, or there are so many things right now going on a European level. So I think the next step will be to implement physical activity in work time, because then people definitely will be less ill and it's also a release for health insurance. And so it's a win-win situation for everyone. Yes, I think it's super cool. And then I would also work for the European Commission.
That's really good. Thanks a lot, Petra. There are some questions on the chat. I don't know if might not be very well placed to read them, but maybe there are also some a little bit too technical for me. But there are not many, so I don't know if you would like to go through them and address, or if we can have some the answers, as you said, at a later stage. Shall we also, do you mind if we encourage our colleagues to send questions also through an email and prepare a list, which we will then send to you, and then compile the Q&A document? I have also another question myself. I had seen, when you sent me the material at the beginning, there was also a video with some testimonials of colleagues which we didn't produce in the end. We didn't reproduce. Do you mind if we, in our the webpage of R&D, give the link also to that one? The one that starts with a Greek lady exercising by the beach.
We will upload it. You want us to show it now, or?
Well, up to you. I found it really nice.
Yeah, it's done. It's a video. If you have time, we have 1 minute. It's too short.
It's too long, but I'm asking if we can upload on our website that link as well.
Definitely. I really would appreciate, because we did it for the WHO, and among 720 videos, they have chosen it for a healthy lifestyle for young cancer survivors. So it was in the framework of the WHO Health for All Film Festival in 2023. I will send it to you, and you can upload it to the website, of course. It is a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Petra. Who is next? Anybody would like to have the floor to ask a question orally? Well, I see people are shy, they prefer to write. So it's also 2 o'clock, so maybe we can close here this session. As I said earlier, I would conclude with one word: optimism. Physical exercise, definitely, and based on facts, if not everything, but at least it improves the quality of the life of cancer patients. It is something that should be advertised as much as possible, because when we have facts that also the therapy can be, the survival rates can be enhanced, why not? We will make sure from the R&D side that the video and the results and the questions and answers are advertised as much as possible. We will further engage with Outdoor Against Cancer and with the Cancer Support Group to make sure that this collaboration goes on, and that, as I like to say, for us as staff representatives, our challenge is one: to make every single individual be at the conditions to give his or her maximum for the interest of the service. So if we manage to offer optimum working conditions, then the individuals, independently if we have cancer patients or people with other serious illnesses or any other, maybe a disability, the Commission has only to benefit if the working conditions are optimum. So, and if the Commission benefits, it's also then the taxpayers. So 500 people or 600 people have to benefit from that. And we are the interface that has to pass the message from the individual to the organization. That's from my side. I don't know if Cristiano or Maria or Petra, you would like to to have a closing word?
Maybe.
Yes, please, Maria.
I don't know if Cristiano was talking.
No.
Ladies first, our organization.
Well, I wanted to thank you very much, Atanasio, Cristiano, Renouveau and Démocratie, for this opportunity. Of course, Petra, Tom, and Rudolf for this very motivating webinar. I have to say, when I started the webinar, I decided, after listening to you, I decided to listen to it standing up. I have an e-desk. So I've been listening to your presentation. I decided not to sit and to be standing. So, and just for my colleagues, I would like just to make a word about the importance of prevention, the importance of doing your mammographies, use the resources available at the Commission. I want to remind that PMO has a screening program, and within it there is a gynecological screening program. So don't miss a screening even by a month, and don't forget to do them. So thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Maria. Cristiano, if you would like to have the closing.
I just want to thank you all. Concerning training activities, I noticed and acknowledge the request to take that into account on the working time. It's a proposal that we are going to put forward, especially for those that really needed to do it. We are going to organize several initiatives in December and January about activities at work, support to be given to the Cercle de Loisirs for all this. And I think that we are going to take into account your request also in this respect. It must be really underlined that those who are suffering of cancer, among the colleagues who are on sick leave, are the ones who are really working hard until the very end of their disease. So everyone recognize your effort, the fact that you work, even if you are not always in good shape. We all see colleagues coming if they are not totally in good shape, and it's really recognized by the institution. So you deserve the institution to thank you also for that, and to put in place all the possible measures that could eventually help you in this respect. And start also thinking about what we are going to do with what we will get with so huge sale of Parmesan. There will be some fund to be shared, and we wait for your proposal in order to have the best possible use of this. And thank you very much again. It's just the start of a very close collaboration that we want to build in the near future. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, Cristiano. Colleagues, thank you so much for participating. Petra, Tom, and Rudolf, your presentations have been outstanding, motivating, filled us in with optimism, and I think that this was the first, but certainly not the last time we share a webinar. I think in the future it would be great also if we could arrange that such a presentation is done in a hybrid way, not only online but also in person, and we will try to find out what is the best subject to organize a presentation again with you. Maria, again, it's only the beginning. We have a lot of actions, and Petra and Alice to do together, so we stay in contact. All the best to everybody. Have a very good afternoon, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for having joined this webinar. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Many thanks. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.